The European model has been starting new rumors lately about a tropical storm to maybe even hurricane developing in the eastern Gulf of Mexico. Are they true? I'll get into all of the details on that and this area of vorticity expected to develop. That is coming up in this video, and the video is all about that Gulf trouble. So let's go ahead and get right in with a full breakdown in under 6 minutes. Here we go. There were 5 areas a few days ago to watch in the Atlantic. This shows just how much energy has been developing. Pretty much all of these have become something, including this one, Tropical Storm Franklin, bringing very heavy rainfall to Hispaniola as well as the Dominican Republic for us at this time, and it's really going to remain stationary over that area for at least a few more days. We still have 5 storms out there if you include post-tropical Gert, pushing just north of the Lesser Antilles and falling apart. But really what this shows is any moisture that we have in the main development region of the Atlantic pushes west into the Caribbean, and that's what we're seeing right now with lots of moisture really beginning to push on into these islands for us here, and this is more moisture than we've really seen all season long. So let's look at this weekend. The area of interest that the European model has been showing on and off is expected to be near Cancun. Now, all the models show some rainfall falling over Mexico at this point. It does look like it's going to be a pretty rainy setup over the course of the next couple of weeks in that area as this moisture pushes out of the Atlantic and some of it makes it into the Pacific. This particular entity, all models at least have something staying here into portions of the southern Gulf of Mexico, the western Caribbean, and the moisture should be in tatters, to say the least, for us here in this area, regardless as we head towards, again, late weekend for us Sunday and into our Monday. By the time we hit Tuesday, August 29th, this is when some earlier European model runs have shown some storm development getting going for us here. Again, this is 1,000 millibar or so low, which means that probably a strong tropical storm potentially getting going immediately after it pushes off the coast of Cancun for us there. The waters in the Gulf are extremely warm, which is very supportive of this. But nonetheless, around only 40 to 50% of the last few days as model runs have actually indicated this setup, and this is from the European model. But when I talk about this setup, I mean the setup for a tropical storm or hurricane to develop. There's a very high chance that there's at least a setup to help support tropical storms and hurricanes there. Now, if it were to develop, the eastern Gulf looks to be a target, as you can see, as we head towards mid to late part of next week. This is as we head towards, say, Wednesday night and towards Thursday. So this is as we're basically pushing our way into the start of September almost for us here. This is when this system would be knocking on the door. That would be a pretty unpleasant start to the month, really cleaning up the pieces if a hurricane were to move through. The GFS hasn't agreed much on that, but much of the moisture is available. Will be there at the same time, so that is something to keep an eye on. The time frame would be August 29th to September 3rd, so again you can see those deep green colors for us here, almost looking blue in that area. But one thing that's to the north of it is something that it's actually going to be combating for us, and that is going to be the dryer. So let's actually talk about that dryer, switch the slides here and get into that. And here it is. You can see a cold front pushing on down, bringing in that cooler drier air from the north. All the models are agreeing on this, so there's a lot of agreement into the overall pattern, not a lot of agreement as to what's going to set up with this hurricane potential. This dry air from the cold front will be helpful in weakening a storm. Again, it could be just because the storm might not necessarily even be there, depending, but it does definitely look like a lot of moisture will be there. Hot Gulf waters will be very supportive of these storms. You can see a lot of that heat energy right there on the top of the Gulf, and again, this really goes deep down in the water as well. It's pretty hard to find any blue on that map, right? Just the entire Atlantic, the Caribbean, just everywhere. The Gulf Stream has just been extremely well above average for us here. And the chance of tropical development, this is the product you might want to see for here. During the time span, August 29th to September 3rd, you can see overall a low chance in the Gulf and the Western Caribbean, but I've got that medium chance coming right off the tip of Cancun and pushing on up there in portions of the western panhandle of Florida. This is where I'd primarily worry about the chance for at least a tropical storm to occur during this time, but again, that's a level 2 out of 5 threat on my scale, so nothing extreme, but just something we need to watch. So let's look at the next several days across the Gulf, the Caribbean, as well as portions of the western Atlantic. So you can see, first of all here, Tropical Storm Franklin pushing on through Hispaniola over the course of the next few days. That's about to begin right here, as you can see, pushing on through. But notice how it just kind of swirls just north of Hispaniola, and that's the main target system closest to the United States, closest to Caribbean islands in the near term. But you can see some of that tattered moisture just kind of lingering around there, Western Caribbean, Southern Gulf. Franklin begins to move northward, and the models have shown this taking a little bit more of a westerly track, but really just pushing right up towards Bermuda, but staying offshore due to a front that's going to be pushing in. And here you can see that front really right there along the east coast as we head towards next week. And then now you can also start to see some of that moisture beginning to get itself together there in the Gulf of Mexico before pushing northward into places like Tampa, Florida, Jacksonville, Florida, the western panhandle of Florida, really all of it at least getting in on some of this moisture, but again, the best chance of a tropical system would be in the panhandle. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching this video today. Go ahead and like, subscribe, and comment if you're interested and really enjoyed that video. I would really appreciate it. And you can also subscribe to my extra channel, which is ONW Beyond. I'll be covering satellite imagery and cloud pictures that I have on that channel. And here are the credits for this channel. Have a good day, everyone.